starting with Arsenal. Arsenal I think are doing pretty good, to be honest. Now, Ramsdale. I've said this to a lot of people last year that Ramsdale should have gone to the Euros. People said he was poor, but he wasn't. He was Sheffield United's best player. Yes, they got relegated, but when Arsenal went in for him, a lot of people mocked them. I said he will do well at Arsenal. He's a really good keeper, and he's proven to be so. So Ramsdale's been one of their best players. Smith Rowe obviously having a breakout year. I think Tommy Yasu's been a really good signing. He's doing really well. Those three I think have been their best players so far this season. Martinelli's coming into form now. Saka's coming into a bit of form as well. But I think in terms of Arsenal for January, I think everybody knows where I'm going to go with this. With Aubameyang being completely out of form, looks like he might even be past it, to be honest. Completely out of favour, stripped of the captaincy. A striker. If Arsenal can get in a striker in January, if they've got the funds to do so, if they will back Arteta to do so, then bringing in a striker would be absolutely ideal for them. So options then. I think if they could get him, Patrick Schick would be absolutely brilliant. If they could get him from Leverkusen, that would be ideal. That's the level that Arsenal should be aspiring to. I think somebody like Patrick Schick. They're linked a lot with Vlahovic. I think that's completely unfeasible, out of their price range, and also I can't see them having the ability to attract him. He's linked with, your Real Madrids and teams like that, Bayerns. I cannot see them being able to compete for Vlahovic's signature. Another option, slightly more under the radar, might be Amin Guri from Nice. That could work really well for him. He's having a really good season. And they obviously do like French players. So yeah, striker for Arsenal. Those are the options I'd go for. Those two. Moving on to Aston Villa. Again, looking a lot stronger under Gerrard now. He's had an absolutely brilliant start. Gerrard has at Villa. Their best players under him for sure: McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Matty Cash, Watkins, Mings. They're all playing well under Gerrard. And to be honest, most of the team are. The whole team is playing well under Gerrard, to be honest. Where I see them upgrading on under Gerrard's system would be Marvelous Nakamba. He's been alright. But I think that DM role is something they might look to go for. Would they look at maybe trying to get Glenn Kamara in from Rangers? Even though he doesn't always sort of play that role for Rangers, he's quite adept at holding. He could be quite ideal, Glenn Kamara, if they bring him in. Maybe Elias Shkiri from Cologne might be a better option. Or, and this is what I think is potentially more likely, they might persist with Nakamba until summer, see how he does, and then maybe look at better options in summer in terms of availability. So I think Villa, based on all the signings they made in summer, I think they'll have a quiet January, and I don't think they'll go in for anyone. Brentford then. Obviously they're having a really good season. Tony, Pinnock, Norgard, surprisingly, I didn't expect him to be in the team as much, but yeah, Tony, Pinnock, Norgard, Janelt, and Puemo. Ayer's been a really good signing for them, and Janssen. They've all done really well. What surprised me a little bit is Rico Henry hasn't really done that well. I think he's been quite poor actually. Matthias Jensen as well, when he's played, hasn't quite been up to it. So those two could be upgrades for sure. However, I don't think they'll do any business in January. Things are going well enough for them. I think they'll completely wait till summer. They're a very measured club based upon the data analytics and stuff like that. I don't think they will see the value in January transfers, and I think they'll just go with what they've got. They're in and around top 10, aren't they? So why do they need to do any business? Brighton then. Ramos and Cucurella being a great signing for them. They've all done really well. They underperformed on XG last year, and they're plummeting down the table now because the goals are drying up now. For me, for a while they've needed a striker, and that's where they're at now. They need a striker. They can't just keep relying on Mope because he's not. They've given him long enough now. He doesn't seem like he's going to go and get 20 goals. Goals are drying up for him again now. Someone like Giovanni Simeone from Verona would be kind of the level they should be pitching themselves at, and he is banging them in at Verona. If they can, go and get him. That's what I'd say. Moving on to Burnley then. Having a bad season. Burnley having a bad season. Nobody, to be honest, is covering themselves in much glory at all. Dwight McNeil's doing alright. Maxwell Cornet, he's been their best player, obviously, by a mile. For me, with Burnley, centre mid is where they desperately need more quality. I don't think Brownhill and Westwood have got much quality in them, and they certainly haven't been great this year. They've been two of their poorer players. Now, to play for Burnley under Sean Dyche, you're going to need energy and work rate. So somebody that they could bring in that I think could be decent would be Ibrahim Sissoko at Strasbourg. I think that would be a really good signing for them. That could hopefully bring a bit more quality to their centre mid and get things ticking over. Do you know what, Burnley? They're only 3 points off safety though, and with them they can always go on a little bit of a run. But I fear for them. They need to back him in January. They need to. Chelsea. The squad is massive, and they've spent a lot in the last couple of years. They are having a bit of a blip, but they're very, very good, and they absolutely could still go on and win the league. Getting Lukaku fit and working in this team, for me, is the key to their title challenge. So they don't need any signings. They've got to get Lukaku working and working properly in this team. Palace. Now, what a revelation Conor Gallagher's been, eh? Unbelievable. By far their best player. They're currently in 11th, which for me is decent for Palace, particularly with the amount of signings they've had and a lot of the gelling that they've needed to do. They've also got Eze to properly come back in and get up to speed, fitness-wise. I don't think they will sign anyone in January, and I don't think they should. They just need to keep going with what they've got and keep gelling. For me, having a good season though. Everton, they are not. They're absolute and utter shambles. Absolute and utter shambles, frankly, Everton at the minute. Marcel Brands, for me, quite rightly fallen on his sword. Chaotic director of football, chaotic recruitment, in so much financial fair play, problems now, and for what? They're near relegation. It has been an absolute and utter shambles, horrendous. If they can do any recruitment in January, it's going to have to be loan deals because of the fair play stuff. For me, getting Calvert-Lewin fit and firing is the number one priority for their season. If they could upgrade anywhere, for me it'd have to be right back. I think Seamus Coleman is really showing his age now, so upgrading on right back would be ideal, but I have no idea who they could try and bring in on loan that would be of the required quality, so it might be a very quiet window for Everton. Leeds, another club in chaos. What's going on? Apart from Rafinha, it's been an absolute shit show. The defence has been a shambles. That's the one thing. But they only signed Llorente and Koch last year. In summer, I said that not upgrading on Click was a mistake, a big mistake, and it has been. And they have massively suffered without Patrick Bamford. That's been clear. He is so key to what they do. Pressing from the front. He sets the pace for them. He's been so key, and they've really, really missed him. So I do think if they can, upgrading at centre-back would be ideal. The ex-Arsenal centre-back, Konstantinos Mavropanos at Stuttgart, is doing really, really well. And he could be an option if they can get him. Tarkowski is available on a free in summer, and for me, if they can, that's the kind of signing they should be going for. Now, would he leave Burnley for a fellow relegation team? Would he kind of leave Burnley in the lurch like that to strengthen one of their rivals mid-season? I don't know if it would. I don't know if Burnley would sanction it. But if they can, I'd say go and get Tarkowski, because he would absolutely add immediate stability to that back line. In centre mid, obviously Leeds were linked with Conor Gallagher in summer before he went to Palace, so how different could their season have gone if they'd have gone and got him? You know, but they didn't, and they stuck with Click. And you know, they're now playing Adam Forshaw in there, a guy that's not played really for years for them because of injuries. Was last playing in the Championship. You know, they need investment, Leeds. They didn't invest in summer. They need to invest. For me, if they can, with Chelsea's squad returning to full fitness and options and opportunities being limited for him, if they can go and get Ruben Loftus-Cheek, that could be ideal. That could be ideal for them. Leicester. Tielemans once again having an outstanding season. Maddison's really starting to hit form as well, which is good for Leicester. They're in the top 10, but they're going to be open to push on in the second half of the season for sure. You know, their squad is really good. Now that they've dropped into the Europa Conference as well, they can essentially just play their youth team if they want. They're not going to be bothered about that competition. Youth team or complete second string. I think they'll be happy with what they've got, and I don't think they'll look at any January signings, Leicester. Liverpool are back at their best, aren't they? You know, who isn't playing well for Liverpool currently? For me, I do think, you know, them and City look the best teams. Obviously they're 3 points behind City right now, but they had to play a depleted team against Spurs away, and you know, a point away at Spurs away is a good result anyway. Is anyone's to play for still. For me, with Liverpool, Salah and Mane, they're going for the African Cup of Nations, as is Matip. This could really hit them hard. They don't seem to trust Minamino for Premier League starts at all as well. So that would mean for me, you'd be looking at a front three of Firmino, Jota and Origi. Will they risk that and not really having any cover during that period other than Minamino? My gut instinct tells me they probably will. If they can, they should go and get somebody for the front line in January. But my gut instinct tells me that they'll just persist until summer. City. Obviously the big question about City seems to be the lack of striker that lingers on. But guess what? They're top of the league and 3 points clear. So, you know, I don't see them making any signings at all in January. For the sole reason I think they will go and try and get, and I think they will get, Haaland in summer. Once his release clause becomes activated in summer, I think is it something like they can get him for 67 million, 67 to 80 million, something daft like that, which is a steal for Haaland. It really is, and I think they will. I think they'll be the team that will go and attract him, and they'll bring him in summer, and then it's curtains for the rest of us if they do that. I mean, it's a scary prospect to think that City squad goes and gets Haaland. Frightening. So this January, I think that they won't do any business. Man United then. So Man United already look a lot more organised under Rangnick. I'm really happy as a Man United fan. The Palace game was a lot better than the Norwich game, though, and for me it was really, really clear that was fully on the players. As United fans, we've blamed Solskjaer, you know, for a while. That Norwich game was the players, undoubtedly. They absolutely did not carry out his instructions at all. They just didn't do it. And Rangnick won't allow that. Insubordination will not be tolerated under the professor. They won't have it. So I think they are looking at upgrades. The obvious upgrades for me would be centre mid and right back. Now, apparently they're very close to tying up Boubacar Kamara from Marseille, which would be absolutely ideal under the system that Rangnick plays for his centre midfielders. So that'd be great. You know, There's rumours of Bellingham. I just don't see it happening. I don't see us attracting Bellingham. I think he's more likely to go to a Liverpool or somewhere like that, or a City. I don't think we've got the pull to bring in Bellingham where he could go wherever he wants. But, obviously if we could bring in Bellingham, he would be absolutely ideal and I'd be cackling with joy. But Boubacar Kamara is more likely, I think. So whether we sign anyone in January remains to be seen. If we do sign anyone, I think it'll be bringing him in a window early, Kamara. Newcastle, obviously, they are the big one for this window. They're the big one. But where do you even start with Newcastle and where they should strengthen? Well, you start at the defence. The defence is where they need to strengthen. Trippier, maybe, could they do it? Tarkowski, again, would he leave Burnley to strengthen one of their definite relegation rivals? I don't think he would. I don't think he would. I don't think he'd do that. They still haven't got a permanent director of football in. They've gone in and recruited the ex-Reading and Celtic director of football, Nick Hammond, on a short-term deal dealt with transfers. Does he have the credentials to oversee a window like this? I don't think he does. I'm sorry, but I don't. This could be make or, this is make or break, this window. And honestly, I could absolutely see this window being an absolute shit show for them and them getting themselves relegated. I think the types of players they will bring in will be players on massive money, massive wages, that are over the hill, that could completely be past it. A player that I could see them bringing in would be somebody like Coutinho. Now, I have no idea whether Coutinho is still a good footballer or not. Do you know what I mean? For me, Coutinho could come in and have a couple of worldly games and be absolutely abysmal for them and be one of the catalysts that gets them relegated. That's the sort of signing I could see Newcastle making. I fear for Newcastle, they needed to go and get in somebody best of class for a director of football role. And they could have and should have done that. There are people available on the market and they didn't do it. It's a shambles already for me. Shambles. Sorry, Newcastle fans, that's how I feel. Norwich. Now, if there's one thing that seems to be as sure as death and taxes, it's that if Norwich get promoted, they're going to get relegated. This year's no different, and they've only got themselves to blame. It's been a shit show. I said this in summer, if you remember my transfer window. I said this in summer, and I said they'd get relegated. Their sporting director, Stuart Webber, said they were desperate to not make the same mistakes as 2019 by being too cautious in the transfer market. He has also lambasted the players and Daniel Farker, saying it's not been good enough. For me, he is the person that should be falling on his sword. He has been an absolute and utter shit show, Norwich fans. They brought in no one. You've not been backed. Farker, they brought in various different signings, and who were they? They brought in nobodies. I'm sorry, they've brought in nobodies. Why anyone thought that Milo Rashica was gonna work, I don't know. Why, Norman's been good actually. No, not Norman's been the surprise signing. But if Norman didn't work out, I wouldn't have been surprised. They've brought in nobody. And they know they're going to go down now. So will they spend money in this January to bring in people when they know they're going to be going straight to the Championship? I don't think they will. I think Norwich are going to end up comfortably massive success. So I think fair play to him. You know, Armando Broja's hit a bit of form recently. Shea Adams and Armstrong are doing okay at best. I think they wanted more from Armstrong. I think they're going to be wanting more from him in the second half of the season, more from Shea Adams, and hopefully Broja to continue with form, and hopefully that will pull them further away from relegation. For me, if they could upgrade anywhere in January, I think it'd be on the wings. That would be ideal for me. If they could bring in somebody out wide, Roman Favre at Brest could be a really good option, and maybe just one signing like that in January could be what you'd see from Southampton in January, and I think they should. Tottenham then. So Spurs for me do look a lot better under Conte. They look a lot better. They look a lot more organised, and they've got more structure, and they absolutely could finish in the top four. If Kane can get back firing, and you know, hopefully after the Liverpool game for them scoring, he hits a run of form. I mean, he did miss an absolute string of chances against Liverpool, which is worrying, but if he can hit a run of form, that's the best sign that they could hope for. Centre mid and centre back seem to be the biggest areas that they could upgrade on. But I think that Spurs feel that they'll have a better chance of bringing in players of the quality that they need in summer, such as the likes of Skriniar and Brozovic from Inter. If Conte can reunite with those players, they could become a bit of a force. So I don't think we'll see any signings from Spurs in January. I don't. Watford have actually surpassed my expectations because I expected them to finish bottom. I really worried for them. The danger for them, although they are currently 17th, is that they still might finish bottom or certainly in the relegation zone. Emmanuel Dennis, of course, has been their standout player. Josh King has come back and done well. And Ismail Assar's chipping in as well with the goals. Watford signed a hell of a lot of players in summer, so I'm not sure if they will look to bring anyone in January. If they did, the area to strengthen for me would be alongside Moussa Sissoko in centre mid. I think Cleverley and Kuchka haven't been great alongside him. Sissoko has been decent enough. And Kiko, Firmino and Jeremy and Ngakia have both been quite poor at right back. If they could get a move for somebody like Loftus-Cheek available in centre mid, that would be amazing to bring him in on loan alongside Sissoko. That could work really well for them. Nacho Vidal from Osasuna might be a good option at right back, but you know, whether they do any business remains to be seen. West Ham. Now, I thought West Ham would really struggle with Europa League football and the size of their squad. They haven't rotated a great deal at all in the Europa League, but guess what? They're touching Champions League spots, and they finished top of the Europa League group. They've been outstanding. I take my hat off to West Ham. They've been outstanding. You do wonder whether it's starting to hit them with their current dip in form in terms of legginess. You know, Rice and Souček, Bowen and Antonio have been fantastic, but they've all played a phenomenal amount of football, particularly Rice and Souček. Vlasic has barely had a kick, and he may need to get used if Antonio suffers from injury or fatigue. Ogbona's injury could be a factor in West Ham's season, and as I say, Rice and Souček surely cannot continue to play the amount of games that they're currently playing. So loan signings for depth could be ideal. But again, who they could bring in, I don't know. So I'm not sure we'll see business from West Ham, but I think they could do with bringing in depth at centre mid and potentially centre back this January if they can. And finally, Wolves. Again, Wolves have massively surpassed my expectations. Bruno Laga's doing a fantastic job. Aït-Nouri, Saiss, Hwang and Gilman have all been really good. But with how things are going, they're in the top 10. I don't expect Wolves to make any signings in January, and I think they'll look to plan for the summer instead. So guys, let me know your thoughts please on each